Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. My name is Ritesh Osta, and I welcome you in one more webinar, one more Thursday webinar from Inside Tab. And today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic. Okay, and the topic name is dark funnel, right? So it has the word funnel and dark. Uh, so for everybody who has ever heard of the term dark web, don't be scared. I'm not going to do anything in dark web, but dark funnel is a very special concept, very regularly used in B2B ABM, but rarely used outside of it. So today I'm going to put some more light on this topic and what this dark funnel means, and and how it really works out. And if you are a B2B company, then possibly this can be an eye-opening learning for you to implement this right away in your own business. All right. Now, so with that, let's jump right into what dark funnel is and how we can turn this invisible intent into your pipeline revenue. Okay. All right. Let's move on. So we have to cover the essential topics about the dark funnel. All right. And please feel free to use the chat if you have any questions. I know, that there'll be a lot of questions around this particular topic. In fact, there are so many questions that we have decided to have a part two of this webinar in which we are going to just have an FAQ and we'll go ahead and answer those FAQs. All right. But if you have any questions and if the time permits, we will be very happy to answer as many questions as possible. Okay. Okay. So today, what we are going to do, we are going to try to understand what dark funnel is. And with that, we are also going to touch on the data parties, the first party, second party, and the third party data. And we are also going to cover up what intent signals are. Okay, so all three things are intertwined. And we will see the relation between these three things. And all these three things put together, when you create a funnel out of it, we call it the dark funnel. Okay, all right. So let's talk about the dark funnel itself. Okay, the definition, the channel, the social difference from dark social, and what really dark funnel means. Okay, everybody, if you have ever done marketing or if you have read a marketing book, you all understand what funnel is, right? Funnel is a concept in marketing, the funnel concept, by which you basically define the stages of your customer journey in form of a funnel. So, for example, if you are selling a Broadway show in New York, then what you're going to do? You're going to run ads, right? You're going to put ads on newspaper and on event sites and news channels. You're going to distribute pamphlets. So you want to do a lot of stuff. The reason for doing those things is so that people are aware of the Broadway show, which is going to happen next Sunday or next Saturday, and they turn. So, how does it really work? If you're going to put up a news and put up an ad on newspaper and put up a show in event sites and start distributing pamphlets locally, if you do all of that, then what you're trying to do is you're trying to reach out to as many people as possible. So you're trying to create an awareness. So there is an awareness layer. So suppose by doing all of it, uh, 10,000 people got aware of the fact that you have a Broadway show this Saturday. Okay. Now, from those 10,000 people who are aware of it, there will be certain number of people who will start taking action. Right? Some of them, they will come check out your website, check out your event site, uh, and find out more information about the pricing and what is the timing of the show and like so on. So then some of them will come down one step in the customer journey. Okay, so they will come down in the funnel. So not all 10,000 people are going to do that. Okay, out of that 10,000, a fraction of the people will go ahead and take that next action. Then out of those fraction of those people, a fraction of that people is going to take the next action, which is say, for example, call you up and ask about the ticket booking procedure and go to the site where you have put up the tickets and like so on. Eventually, say, 1,000 people goes ahead and book the ticket. So you started from 10,000 in terms of awareness, and then they started taking some action, and eventually, say, 1,000 people booked the ticket, and you have a house full on Saturday, and it's a success. So it becomes a marketing success, right? So so funnel is basically a journey of the customer. It's a customer journey, right, of going, and in between there will be a large chunk of audience that will just simply drop off at each stage of the funnel. Okay, but the marketing funnel, the traditional marketing funnel, only starts when they see you, you see them, and the journey starts. For example, you run ads, Google ads, they see your ad, they click on the ad, and that is where the journey begins, right? Or you run SEO and they visit your website, and from there the journey begins. Okay, or you post it on social media or run ads on social media, see your ads or the see your post, they click on it, and then from there the journey begins. So the traditional marketing funnel, the journey begins quite transparently. That means you do something, the customer takes certain action, and from that point onwards, you can basically measure the next step and the next action and measure the entire funnel. For example, if somebody came down to you, 100 people came down to your website, but only 50 people checked out your pricing page, and only 20 people, downloaded your case study, and 10 people went ahead and, booked a contact us form. Right? So that's a funnel, and you can measure all of it. Right? There are web analytics tool, product analytics tool, social analytics tool, all of that is there, and you can measure all of it. Okay, so the funnel, the traditional marketing funnel is very transparent. But what is dark funnel? Dark funnel is something that is beyond the traditional marketing. Okay, so there is a traditional marketing funnel, but there are certain things which is beyond the traditional marketing. Let me explain what I mean by that. Okay, so the dark funnel represents the hidden part of the customer intent that remain unattributed in traditional analytics, unlike the dark social, which refers to private sharing. Dark funnel encompasses channels to obscure user behavior before conversion. The point is, in a traditional marketing funnel starts from your own assets, your social media, your website, your app, and other places. But the dark funnel starts beyond that. Okay, for example, there are customers who are looking for your service, but your website never came up on top of the Google search, correct? Or they are not aware of you. Your social media post never showed up to them, right? Or your ad never came in front of them. That happens, correct? But they are your customer, they are your potential customer. They are looking for your service and products. But you're not coming in front of them, which means they are showing interest. They are taking certain action. It is just that there is a dark passage between you and them. So you are not aware of them, and they are not aware of you. But they have their intent, and they are also giving out signals. So possibly they are checking out in social media, they are doing Google search, they are going to Quora, they are reading about it. So they are doing their own research, and they are taking their own actions. It's just that they are not aware of you, and possibly you are not aware of them, right? So what happens? That the entire thing is dark, right? So there's funnel ends, and then there is a dark portion of the funnel where you don't really know what's going on and what actions the users are taking, what signals they are giving out. So you're not aware of it. But imagine you have the technology and the processes and the system by which you will be able to identify certain signals those customers are sending out. I'll give you an example here. Okay. Suppose a customer is, uh, you know, a customer needs some certain things, right? Uh, they need a certain, they are a heavy engineering company, for example, and they are looking for certain type of machinery, right? That they want to buy. Okay. Now, this industry is very niche, so obviously, you will not find everything just by doing a Google search. So they are doing their own research, right? They are going to G2 and Software Suggest, and they are talking to communities. They are going to Quora, and then they are calling their own people in their network. So they are doing their own research, right, to find these companies who are providing this kind of services. Okay. But you are not aware of them, and they are not aware of you. Okay, but those signals are going out. Make sense? So there are data aggregators that can capture those signals and give it to you. For example, you set up a Google alert, right? And those people are searching for those specific machinery, right? And they are looking for it. And you set up a Google alert of every company who is mentioning this kind of search terms, and then you will get an email, right? So if they are writing about it, if they are searching about it, maybe they are writing about it in Quora and all. Okay, they use that term. The Google alert will fire, and maybe possibly you'll get an email saying that, hey, you know what, in Quora somebody is talking about this particular machinery. The other dark funnel, the other intent signal can be, somebody posting certain type of jobs, right? So if they are looking for certain kind of machinery, they have posted a job around purchase manager who can do this kind of purchase, right, under heavy machinery. Now that's a signal to you, because if somebody is hiring a purchase manager uh, to do a purchase in this for this type of industry, that means those purchase manager in turn will go ahead and look for companies like you who are providing product and services in that heavy machinery, right? So the moment somebody posts a job of purchase manager, then you can, and if you get that signal is there, right? That job is posted in LinkedIn, Indeed, in different job portals, and you can set up certain system that if somebody posts a job around purchase manager for this particular industry, then you will get a notification. You can do that. The technology is now available, right? And we'll talk about the technology later on, right? And then you get it. The Google search itself is the biggest intent signal provider, right? What do I mean by that? If I'm looking for an ice cream, I'll go ahead and look for ice cream provider near me, right? So I put up an intent, put up a query in Google, and then Google will basically try to match up with the local ice cream provider, okay? And Google will put somebody who's paying them money in form of Google ads on the top of the ranking. So Google search itself is world's number one intent and signal provider, right? Other than that, there are other intent signals as well, which I'm going to talk about, but I hope that you got the point. Okay. So, dark funnel represents a hidden path the customer with respect to intent and signals. And if you are the one who is able to decipher those intent and signals in real time, that's the key word, in real time. That means if they are looking for something and you are aware of that in real time, not after 2 weeks or 4 weeks, then you have an advantage over your competitors, and possibly you can find ways to reach out to those customers and present your product and services. Okay, so that's the concept of dark funnel. And in fact, I want to explain that in a little bit more details in the coming days. But before I get into the first party, second party, and third party, I'll just go ahead and explain the intent and the signals, the type of intent and the signals. Okay? So if you're looking at my screen, these are a type of intent and signals when it comes to dark funnel. So this is dark funnel. And if you have a question, what are the type of intent and signals? These are some of the type of intent and signals among many. The first that we typically look into is website visitor. Now we have what we call as the reverse IP tracking technology. All these companies, they provide this kind of technology by which you will be able to identify 40 to 50% of the time the people or the companies visiting your website. That's good, right? Even if you're aware of the people from those companies visiting your website, and the company will show up because they might be using their company domain to visit your website. And if you're able to trace those company names, that's good. That means those people from those companies are interested, and that's why they have come down to your website, okay, or your app, and they are checking things out. And based on what they are checking, you can figure out their intent. For example, if they are checking out case studies and pricing page, possibly they are customers, right? And like so on. So website visit is the number one intent signal when it comes to dark funnel that we track. The next step, as I said, is job post. If somebody is job posting the job and hiring, you can now track it. In fact, we have built an AI agentic solution called Job Feeder, which does exactly the same thing. That means it will just scrape the entire internet and it will find, according to the job that you need, all the companies that are posting job in real time. So we have that technology in place. We have, in fact, built a AI agent around that, and we are also using it for our customers. Similar companies, right? So if a company has shown interest in your product and service, then now we have the automation solutions by which we can find similar companies based on the demography and the geography and other factors. Now we can do that, right? So there are some data providers which can provide this data as well, right? Very important signals. Industry specific data, right? These are from heavy industry, but it is applicable to any other industry. There are many industry specific data providers, for example, OSHA and EPA and Chemical Safety Board and industry reports. I can go on and on. The idea is that there are certain industries in which there are data aggregators. They provide data about things happening in industry, and if data is relevant to you, you can get those data. They have the API open. You can get those data. You can process that data for your own advantage. Okay. This webinar is not about to go into the specific use cases. Personally, I will create many use cases in the coming days. This is just to explain what dark funnel is. Tech adoption, very important signals. If somebody is using Shopify, if somebody is using Stripe, HubSpot, Salesforce, or any other technology, and if you can find that in real time, that's good, right? Somebody has just taken a HubSpot account. Okay, if you can get that signal in real time, nice. You can find out all the companies who have adopted HubSpot or Salesforce in last 1 month. Good. And if you are a Salesforce partner, service provider, you can reach out to them saying, hey, you know what? You have just taken a Salesforce, we can help you implement it. Pretty straightforward, right? So tech adoption is another very important signal that a lot of companies, B2B companies, they try to measure. They try to always keep an eye on. Fundraising. Okay, if you're who have been acquired, merged, or they have raised funds, and you provide certain services which is applicable to them, HR services and financial services or whatever, which will help them, in the next step. Then that's a very important signal, right? Social message. Okay. Nowadays, now we have technology available. That means you can consistently listen on social media. For example, you are selling certain type of burger and in a certain geography, say in New York or in Washington, and you want to continuously listen to social media as to what people are talking about it, right? Okay, they are liking it, they are disliking it, and you want to continuously listen so that you can, come up with your own strategy when it comes to product development or marketing strategy. So that is now growing very fast, social listening, and with AI and agentic solution, this has become much more easy. Okay. Search for competitors. If companies are looking for your competitors, then possibly they are looking for your product and services, right? That can be another very important signal. New product launches, right? G2 profile visit, okay, and your own data. For example, companies coming to your website or your app or your customer service ITSM team, they are chatting with your customer service department, with your chatbot. They are interacting with them. That's your own data. But many a times the companies are okay. If certain customer is coming and talking to your customer service team with an intent to buy, and if you can pass that intent quickly to the sales team, then the chances of you closing the deal is much higher, right? So there are so many systems within your company, like CDPs and the CRM and the data warehouses and the web analytics and the product analytics. There are so many systems within your company which has those data, okay, but you are completely in dark about those data. So that can also be fed back into the funnel. And then there is the engagement data, as I spoke about, right? The chat, the ITSM, the email, the ad engagement, and like so. So the idea is, and I can, we can go on and on, but the idea is that you try to uh, listen to as many signals as possible, whatever is relevant to you in real time, so that you can create a strategy to reach out to those companies and people in real time. Okay, so that's what dark funnel is all about. Okay? To answer that question. Moving on, next time. What is data parties? Okay. If you are in B2B, you might have heard these terms like first party data, second party data, and third party data. So I just gave you an example, so many examples of different data sources, right, which provides intent and signals like website visitors, job posting, G2, fundraising. I talked about so many different data sources, right, that you can monitor and you can decipher and you can create your own strategies around that. So broadly, we B2B marketers, we divide it into three different data categories or data providers or data parties. The first is the first party data. The second is second party data, and then the third party data, right? That means all these data that I spoke about, okay, can be categorized into three different categories. We call it as data parties. Okay, so the first party data are direct insight from your own customer and your own visitors. Okay, for example, website visitor is your first party data. Makes sense? Somebody comes up, visit your website, never fills up the form, first party data. Your own customer data in your CRM is also your first party data. Correct? Your prospect is your first party data. Deals is your first party data. Correct? All the people chatting with your customer support, first party data. ITSM system, first party data. People putting complaint, first party data. People logging into your application, in your app, coming through product analytics, first party data, right? So all these different systems, your own system, there are data distributed, scattered across different silos. They can all be connected, and you can start making sense out of it. So this is called as the first party. Okay, right? All these dot together in real time, you can create a very personalized marketing effort, right? For example, there is a visitor who came down to your app, signed up for the free trial, did a few things, and that data is residing in your CDPs and product analytics. Okay, but if you can, decipher that and push it back to your marketing automation, then you can run a today. And this is a quick demo of how you can use it. Okay, this is the webinar you can just watch, or you can just book a calendar with our product support team, and they will just give you a product demo, the walkthrough of the product, so that you can use our product effectively. You see the point here. So The first party data is residing in different places, and I already talked a little bit about that when I was talking about this, right? The CDPs, the CRM, data warehouses, the web analytics, the product analytics, external data sources, and like so, right? The chat system, the email, the ad. So there are so many systems within your enterprise stack. Those data are residing. If you can connect the dot and you can understand the data and create a strategy around that in real time, it's going to allow you for more personalized marketing. Correct. Second party data. What is second party data? Okay. So second party data is partnered insight enhancing your customer profile. Okay. So you gather the second party data through collaboration with other companies. Okay. For example, you are a hotel provider and you collaborate with airline provider, and the airline has the data of who is traveling to that particular city. So you can collaborate with the airline ticket provider. They have the data of people traveling to that particular city on that day in real time, right? So they can provide you that particular data in real time that these people are, currently traveling to this particular city, so that you can, create a campaign. You can call those people or send them an email or run a campaign saying that, hey, you know what, we are the best hotel near the airport. If you need any hotel you're looking for, please come and stay. So in this way, you are collaborating with uh, another companies for your own for to create the collaborated marketing effort. The other example is of course G2, right? You might have your profile in G2, correct, or software suggest or Sourceforge. You might have all of that, okay, and you might have your profile in G2, and a customer is just doing a research on certain product or services. They come and they check out your service or product in G2 or software suggest or Sourceforge or any other aggregator, and they visit your profile there, okay, and then G2 has an integration directly with HubSpot, and it passes that user information to your HubSpot in real time. Okay, G2 has that feature, by the way, if you're not aware of it. Of course, they charge for that, but that's a very important second party data, right? If somebody is going to G2 and checking out your product and service, and then in while doing that, they have checked out and visited your profile in G2, and you have got that company information in real time back to your CRM, then your sales team can, just go ahead and run a campaign to that particular company, saying that, hey, we are the best in terms of this service or this particular product. Just check us out, right? So that's second party data, as you can see. And then we have the third party data. Okay, so third party data is basically completely external sources, right? So this is for broader market trends and audience segmentation. For example, you get some data from SEMrush, right? The SEMrush gives you data in terms of whether there is more search around ice cream in this particular geography, right? So SEMrush, and then there are so many other data providers as well, which can provide you this kind of data, right? I'm just giving you an example here. But with that data, you will see that there is a search of certain type of keywords. Good. That means there is more interest in the products that you are selling. Maybe you're selling an ice cream, and as you can see, there are more interest in that particular thing. So maybe you can think of expanding your network, within that particular city, right? So there are third party data providers as well, okay, which can provide certain data, and you can take those data to take your business to make your business decision, right? So I can talk more on that. Possibly in the coming days, we'll talk more. We'll have a webinar just on this particular topic itself. But I hope I was able to explain you what is the data parties, which is first party, second party, and third party. Right? Let's move on. Okay. So how to detect dark funnel activity? Okay. So in 2025, things have become very interesting, and now with AI and agentic solutions, things are much faster and easier. All right. Having said that, there were certain tools which was there for a very long time. I'm sorry. So you need the right tool and methodologies when it comes to analyzing the data funnel activity. Okay. Uh, some of the tools I have already mentioned here, for example, if you want to track your website visitors, these are all the data providers. There's a bunch of it. I can go each and every one of them. They have their own pros and cons. Okay. Job posting, as I said, uh, you know, uh, there are data providers out there. You can use Clay provide this particular data. In today's world, we have built our own tool, which is better than Clay in many ways. So if you don't have anything, you can build it using agentic solutions, uh, calling the APIs, scraping the internet. There are various ways of doing that, right? Similar companies, we have a tool called, there's a API called Company Enrich. You can check this out. Very good API which can provide you similar companies. Okay, industry specific data, of course, industry by industry, whether it is healthcare or heavy machinery or any other industry to industry changes. So I cannot go into detail here, but yes, if you look for it, you'll find it. Okay, and if you need help, you can reach out to us as well. Tech adoption data, we have, you know, Zoom Infos and Apollo does provide tech adoption data, and there's another tool called Vaporizer which can provide you tech adoption data. There are many tools out there. You can start checking this out. Maybe I can create a webinar just on this particular topic. Okay, but the idea is that most of this data providers like Zoom Infos and Cognizants and Apollo, they provide a bunch of, if not all. Okay, for social listening, you can look for something like a Brand Watch or Talkwalker or a Trigify. For competitor mentions, we of course we have the BuzzSumo as well. If you want to uh, do the social listening in terms of the keywords, what is really trending in social media, you can use a tool like BuzzSumo. So I can go on and right when it comes to tools and technology. Possibly I'll create a complete list and a webinar, and I can speak more on this. Okay. All right. So just wait for our upcoming webinars in which possibly for each and every topic I'm going to talk about a few tools, and I'm going to explain how those tools work. Okay? That's going to be a very interesting webinar. Okay, next one. Key signals of intent. Okay, the key signals of intent is what is the engagement patterns that prospect is interacting and showing the interest. Okay, you need to always identify what is your key signals of intent. I have showed you, a dozen intent signals. Not all of them will be applicable in your case. Maybe in your case, only tech adoption is the only thing that really matters. Good. Then just focus on tech adoption, and then create your complete dark funnel strategy around tech adoption. If you are a IT service company or a manpower provider, if you're helping companies hire people, then the only signal that may matter to you is job posting, right? If they are posting a job, then possibly you can reach out to them and say, hey, you know what, the posting job, we can help you out find these people. Certainly, and we have a special expertise around this kind of jobs, so we can provide you this manpower. So depending on the business, you have to pick and choose. I mean, if you're going to do all of it, you can do, of course, but it's a lot of work, right? So every business needs to pick and choose as to what is the key signal of intent, and then focus on that and create a complete strategy around that. The behavioral triggers to work. Okay, certain actions like repeated visit or downloads or that indicate strong purchase intent. For example, if not all person who are visiting your website are equal. Some people are just coming and checking out your website. Just checking out your blogs. Okay, good. Maybe they're just looking for some content and then they will leave. For certain people, they are coming up and checking your pricing page. Now, those people are more important, right? So the behavioral action, if you can watch it, And the behavioral triggers, if you can, fire some events around that, that will be much more effective. Okay. No, you don't need to follow up with everybody who visits your website or app. No, you can create segments and you can create strategies. And you can create triggers and events, and then based on that, you can create your own strategy to reach out. Okay. Uh, and then you always need to see the trends, right? Increase website visit, increase keyword search, right? Increase social media engagement around certain duration. For example, there is a holiday coming up, and suddenly, your social media engagement increases. So possibly, in that case, you need to keep that trends. You need to keep an eye on those trends as well, right? Okay, and also email interaction. For example, there are certain people who will be more interacting with your email as compared to other people. So if you send a 1,000 email, then possibly 100 of them will open the email, click on the email, read the email. Those 100 people are more important than the rest 900 people who have not opened the email, right? Stuff like those. So you got to always identify the key signals of intent. Always put up the mechanism to watch the behavioral triggers and events, and also look for trends over the time. What is really going on continuously to create your own strategy. Okay, so pipeline plays and key tactics. Okay, so the key, once you identify that these are the intent and the signal that you are going to monitor, then you need to create the pipeline plays. That means you need to identify the buyer journey, and then you need to create a tactical marketing strategy around that. For example, somebody visits your, sorry, apologies, I just closed my, yeah. For example, somebody visits your site, they checked out your pricing page. Okay, you have the company information, right? Okay, and then also, okay, they posted a certain type of job, right? So what we'll do is we'll find those companies, people working for the company, okay, and then you can go ahead and run an ad specific to those companies on LinkedIn, and also send an email outreach campaign to those people, okay, and then if they respond, then you know that these are the kind of people who are responding to your outbound. Then you can fire up the similar company API, find more similar companies around that particular geography or demography, and then do an outbound to those companies as well. Now that's a tactic. Tactic is basically a practical implementation of all the strategy, right? And with the tactic, you basically create a use case which is suitable for you, and then you continuously test it and experiment with it, and and see what works and what doesn't work. The possibilities are infinite, boundless, right? And I can go on and on this, but the tactic is something that basically you implement uh, and see whether it really works out for you. Okay, the idea is to create, align all the resources effectively and achieve your revenue goals in the competitive landscape. That's the idea, right? To reach your revenue goals. Okay. Now, privacy and compliance in the age of GDPRs and CCPA, uh, dark funnel is, in many ways you are trying to reach out to those companies, and they have not given the permission for you to reach out to them, right? In many ways it is. Okay, especially in a world of GDPRs and CCPA, you need to be really careful. The point I'm trying to make here is, if you're in GDPR, so for example, if a company is operating in Europe, and you're operating with European data, your server is in Europe, and you're dealing with people in Europe physically, and they have visited your website, that doesn't mean that you can just reach out to them in an email saying that, hey, you know what, you visited our website, why don't you go ahead and buy some product and services from us? You cannot do that. You can do it in countries where there are no GDPR, I mean, in the US you can do that to a large extent, but in Europe you cannot do that. Okay, and almost every country and every region is coming up with their own data privacy laws. Okay, so you got to be a little careful in terms of how you're going to deal with that particular data and how you want to reach out with your can. For example, if somebody visits your website, instead of sending them personalized email, you can actually show them an ad. You can show them a LinkedIn ad. That is perfectly fine. Okay, that's perfectly fine. You're not sending them an email. And even if you send them an email, don't say that, hey, you know what, we are sending you an email because you visited our website. No, you can just send them a general awareness email. Maybe you can, ask them to invite them to attend a webinar or download a white paper, something which is of value to them, so that it will not look very intrusive. It will not look like that, you are not following the privacy. You are not respecting the privacy of their data. At the same time, you are providing value, right? So we always suggest our customer to create a strategy which is value first. That means, first give out the value, and then they will show intent, and they will also give their consent for you to, contact them or call them or any of it. Okay. So this is another topic for in which I can have a complete webinar. Certainly, but for GDPR, CCPA, SOC, I will create a webinar here. But the idea is that you need to be a little careful. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We'll be very happy to answer any specific questions that you may have on this area. All right. Okay. Metrics. Now, this is one of the last topic that we are going to cover. What are the metrics that you need to cover in order to see whether the campaign that you are running is effective? Okay, for example, there are companies posting jobs, and you are a manpower service provider, and you want to reach out to all the companies who are posting certain type of jobs, saying that, hey, I can provide you this particular service. So, for example, you are providing data security or network security engineers in Germany. I'm just making this up, by the way. So what you will do is you will find all the companies in Germany who are posting jobs around data network security, right? You can do that, okay? And then with those companies, you can start reaching out to these companies. You're not going to say, hey, you know what, just because you have posted this job, I'm saying, you can say that to a certain extent you can. In a nice way, you can. We have created this kind of campaigns as well. But the idea is that, you're going to say, hey, you know what, Mr. So and so, I know you're the HR head of this particular company. I looked into LinkedIn and I saw that you have posted jobs around network security engineers and all. We are, so and so manpower provider, and we provide data network engineer for last 20 years to large scale companies, and we provide full-time, part-time, contractual job, all kind of stuff, and we can provide you this kind of people within a week. Let me know if you're interested. We can talk more. So you can reach out to them on email. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn, and possibly you can even run ads to show your company in front of them. So they have posted a job, and then they suddenly start seeing your ads, and possibly they will also see a LinkedIn message from you. So the chances are that some of them, they might go ahead and want to show interest in talking to you, right? So they will click, they will visit your website, they will take certain action, which will increase your visibility. So if this is the tactic that you have followed, then over the time, what you need to see is you need to see certain metrics. For example, whether my visibility is increasing, right? Social media visibility, my message visibility, my email visibility, my website visitor visibility, whatever is your metric. You need to choose those metrics and see whether those metrics are increasing or not, right? And then based on the data, you need to take your next step when it comes to marketing strategies. So you can, test with different type of emails and see which one has got more open rates and more click-through rates, or different type of LinkedIn message or different type of ads. So maybe you can come up with 3 different type of email message and three different type of LinkedIn message and three different versions of customer match ads to those companies who are posting certain type of jobs. And then you will see which one really has the bigger impact, right? So that's data driven decision making. So you see one type of ad is performing better than other type of ads. Good. You can, go ahead with that. And then you need to continuously improve, right? In form of an iterative process based on performance metrics, you need to improve the entire process. Okay. And the idea is to create a loop, a path, and continuously work on that path until you connect all the dots between, have a complete buyer journey, and you have the right kind of message and you have the right kind of response, close the loop, and then move on to the next one. Okay, rather than just doing 50 different things all at the same time and none of it working, right? A lot of companies, they do that, this mistake. So focusing on one or two areas is very, very important when you're starting this journey of adoption. Okay, so I will create a bunch of case studies. In the coming days, we are already talking about a lot of case studies. I will create some more as well. Okay, the idea is to have mapping at the pilot launch, right? The idea is always to have to map. For example, we always suggest our customer start with some area, or first start with website visitors, possibly start with job posting, then go with similar companies, then look for industry specific. So based on all these different signals, we suggest our customer, okay, fine, take one or two, create the complete loop, see what is working and what is not. It's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work. Trust me. To complete the entire loop, even in terms of product messaging fit, right? The messaging needs to resonate with the target audience. It takes a little bit of time to do that. And only then, once you are satisfied, then you move on to the next one. Okay. So the pilot launch, do a pilot launch on a smaller scale, and then continuously upgrade it, continuously run those loops, and map the processes, map the entire buyer's journey, map the content and the resources, and then move on to the next one. Okay.